Good morning, student. Welcome to the second lecture of unit number 5, that is hacking. In the first lecture, we had discussed about what is hacking, then what are the different types of hackers. So we have seen total 7 types of hackers like ethical hacker, threat actors, grey hat, red hat, blue hat, script kiddies, and hacktivist. Along with this, we have also discussed ethical hacking phases. So there are total 5 phases. Like first one is the planning phase, then scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and fifth one is the analysis and WAF configuration. Now in today's lecture, we will see why there is a need to hack your own system, then understanding the dangers your systems face. After that, the process of ethical hacking. So let's start with the understanding the need to hack your own system. So why you should hack your own system? What are the reasons behind it? So the law of averages, that there is a law which is a law of average, work against security. So with the increased number of hackers and the expanding knowledge and the growing number of system vulnerabilities and other unknown, eventually, all computer systems and applications will be hacked or compromised in some way. And now we know that because of different system vulnerabilities, because of different threats and expanding knowledge related to the technology, recent tools and techniques, all computer systems in today's era and all applications will be hacked or compromised in some way. So protecting your system from the bad guys, that means protecting your system from the hackers, is absolutely critical, is absolutely very difficult to protect your system. So when you know hacker tricks, you find out vulnerable your systems really are. So hacking preys on weak security practices and undisclosed vulnerabilities. Firewalls, encryption, and passwords can create a false feeling of safety. There is no meaning of such type of security like firewall, encryption, and password, because hackers are very intelligent to crack your passwords, your firewalls, and your encryption. So these security systems often focuses on high level vulnerabilities like basic access control without affecting how the hacker works. So, attacking your own system to discover vulnerabilities helps make them more secure. That means, first you have to discover what are the vulnerabilities present in your system that, on which hackers can work on. So, ethical hacking is a proven method of greatly hardening your system from attack. And now we have discussed about the ethical hacking, which is the authorized method to keep your system safe from the hackers by hacking your system itself. So, if you don't identify the weaknesses of your system, it's only a matter of time before the vulnerabilities are exploited. So as hackers expand their knowledge, so should you, you must think like them and work like them to protect your own systems from them. So as the ethical hacker, you must know the activities that hackers carry out, that hackers carry out to hack or compromise your system, and how to stop their efforts. So knowing what to look for and how to use that information helps you to thwart hackers' effort. So anticipating all the possible vulnerabilities you will have in your systems and business processes is impossible. You certainly cannot plan for all possible attacks, especially the unknown attacks. And however, the combinations that you try and the more you test whole system instead of individual instead of individual units, the better your chances are of discovering vulnerabilities that affect your information system in their entirety. So don't take ethical hacking too far. Though hardening your system from unlikely attacks makes little sense. For instance, if you don't have a lot of foot traffic in your office and no internet web server running, you might not have as much to worry about as internet hosting provider might have, because the systems using internet are more prone to such attacks and are more prone to be compromised by the hackers. So your overall goal as an ethical hacker are to prioritize your systems so you can focus your efforts on what matters. Second goal is that hack your system in a non-destructive fashion. That means don't keep your footprints back what you have done in your system. Then enumerate vulnerabilities and if necessary prove to management that vulnerabilities exist and can be exploited. And last one is the apply results to remove the vulnerabilities and better secure your systems. So this is about the understanding the need to hack your own system, or why should you hack your own system. So to protect your system from the hackers, to protect your system from the other vulnerabilities, there is a need to hack your own system. Then the second point that we have to discuss in the today's lecture is that understanding the dangers your system face. So one thing that you should know generally that your systems are under fire from hackers around the world and malicious users around the office. So it is another way to understand the specific attacks against your system that are possible. So in this topic, we are going to discuss some well-known attacks, but is by no means a comprehensive listing. These are the only well-known attacks. So many security vulnerabilities are not critical by themselves. However, exploiting several vulnerabilities at the same time can take its toll on a system or network environment. For example, default window, default window operating system configuration, weak SQL server administrator password, or a server hosted on a wireless network might not be a major security concerns by themselves. But someone exploiting all three of these vulnerabilities at the same time, you could lead to sensitive information disclosure and more. So we will discuss some dangers that some attacks that are dangerous to your system. So first we will discuss about the non-technical attack. Then second one is the network infrastructure attack, operating system attack, application and other specialized attacks. So first one is the non-technical attack. So exploits that involve manipulating people, that means end user, and even yourself are the greatest vulnerability within any computer or network infrastructure, because humans are trusting by nature, which can lead to social engineering exploits. What is social engineering exploits? Social engineering is the exploitation of the trusting nature of human being to gain information, and the natural human tendency to gain information is often via email, and there is a email phishing for malicious purposes. So this is about the non-technical attacks. Then network infrastructure attack. Attack against network infrastructures can be easy to accomplish because many networks can be reached from anywhere in the world via internet. And internet is throughout the world, internet is throughout the country. That means it is anywhere, and that's why it is very easy to accomplish such type of attacks in a network. Some examples of the network infrastructure attacks are connecting to a network through an unsecured wireless access point attached behind a firewall. And it is very easy to get access in a wireless network because wireless network is not a centralized network. It is not a it is a self configured network. That means whether once you are in a range of wireless network, you can get access of that network if it is a unsecured wireless access point network. Then exploiting weaknesses in network protocols such as TCP/IP and secure socket layer, that is SSL. Third one is a flooding a network with too many requests, creating a denial of service attack for legitimate requests. It means that for getting access of this network, hackers are trying to send number of requests to that network. That means flooding a network. If there is number of requests, that means a flooding network. And after that flooding of network, they create a denial of service attack. That means your system will stop working for legitimate request. Then installing a network analyzer on a network segment and capturing every packet that travels across it, revealing confidential information in clear text. So in this type of attack, what happens? Opponent, that means attackers, only observe the information that is passing throughout the network, the information which is traveled from the source to destination, without causing any damage to that information. That means that means we think that our information is secure as it is transferred from this sender. We received it as it is. That means integrity is maintained, but it is not there. Integrity is maintained. Your data is maintaining integrity, but your data is not secure because in between there is an opponent, there is an attacker who is observing your information passing from sender to receiver. The next attack is operating system attack. Hacking an operating system is a system preferred method of the attackers. Operating system attack make up large portion of attacks simply because every computer has an operating system, and operating systems are susceptible to many well-known exploits, including vulnerabilities that remain unpatched years later. Or we can say that operating systems are very susceptible to many viruses. So occasionally, operating systems that tend to be more secure out of the box, such as old but still out there, novel NetWare operating system, OpenBSD, and IBM services are attacked and vulnerabilities turn up. But hackers tend to prefer attacking Windows, Linux, and more recently Mac OS X because they are more widely used. So there are some examples of attacks on operating system like exploiting missing patches, attacking built-in application system, breaking file system security, and cracking passwords and weak encryption implementations. So this is about the operating system attack. After that, application and other specialized attacks. Applications takes a lots of hits by hackers. Programs such as email server software and web applications are often beaten down. For example, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, that is HTTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, that is SMTP. So HTTP and SMTP applications are frequently attacked because most firewalls and other security mechanisms are configured to allow full access to these services too. Understood? Because firewalls and other security mechanisms are configured to allow full access to these services like HTTP and SMTP, and that's why these applications are frequently attacked. And from the internet, even when running with the SSL, that is secure socket layer, or transport layer security, that is TLS encryption. Another example is mobile apps facing increasing attacks given their prevalence in business settings. And the last one is the unsecured files containing sensitive information are scattered across workstation and server shares. Database systems also contain numerous vulnerabilities that malicious users can exploit. So this is about the attacks which are found dangerous to your system, that is non-technical attack, network infrastructure attack, operating system attack, and application and other specialized attacks. After that, let's talk about the ethical hacking process. Now, in the last lecture, we have seen the phases of ethical hacking. So there are 5 phases of ethical hacking. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the processes of ethical hacking. So the first process is formulating a plan. After formulating a plan, execute your plan as decided. And after executing your plan, evaluating the results that you have achieved. So first one is the formulating plan. So approval for ethical hacking is essential because it is a ethical form of hacking, authorized form of hacking. So make what you are doing known and visible, at least to the decision makers. That means if you are working for government, so your plans are to be known and visible to the government itself. Obtaining sponsorship of the project is the first step, as it is the authorized hacking process. So obtaining sponsorship is the first step. This could be your manager, an executive, or your client, or even yourself if you are the boss. That means your manager, your executive, and your client, you must have permission to do this. Then you need someone to back you up and sign off your plan. Otherwise, your testing may be called off unexpectedly if someone claims they never authorize you to perform the test. That means there must be a backbone to support you and to sign off your plan, and there must be a backup who says that they are sponsored you for this particular project. And otherwise, if someone claims or if someone complains about you that you are not authorized to perform this test, then it will be harmful for you. So the first step in the ethical hacking process is formulating plan. Then second, executing the plan. Good ethical hacking takes persistence. Time and patience are important things while executing the plan. Be careful when you are performing your ethical hacking test. A hacker in your network or a seemingly begin employee looking over your shoulder may watch what's going on and use this information against you, as we are discussing the formulating plan process. And third one is the evaluating results. So access your results to see what you uncovered. Assuming that the vulnerabilities have not been made obvious before now, and this is where knowledge counts. Evaluating the results and correlating the specific vulnerabilities discovered is a skill that gets better with experience. You will end up knowing your system much better than anyone else. So this makes the evaluation process much simpler moving forward. So these are the 3 basic steps in ethical hacking process. So first, there is a need to formulate your plan. There is a need to sponsor your project. Then execute your plan as you have decided. And after that, evaluate the results. So in the next lecture, we will discuss about who breaks into computer system, then planning and performing attacks, and maintaining anonymity. So these three topics we will discuss in the next lecture. Now in today's lecture, we have discussed about understanding the need to hack your own system, why there is a need to hack your own system, then understanding the dangers your system face. So we have discussed 4 dangers that your system can face, like non-technical attacks, network infrastructure attacks, operating system attacks, application and other specialized attacks. And after that, we have discussed ethical hacking process like formulating plan, executing the plan, and evaluating results.